First, I woke up at 7 a.m. Then I washed my face and brushed my teeth. Next, I ate my breakfast. After that, I had a Zoom meeting with my students. I have just recounted the activities that I did this morning. This is a writing lesson with Alisa, and in this lesson we will learn how to write a recount. If you are interested, let's get started. Writing lesson. Recount. So in this lesson, first I will introduce the recount text. Then we will learn the structure of the recount. Then we will learn the time and sequence words that can be used in a recount. And at the end, we will learn how to write a recount. So this text is a recount. This recount is a fictional journal entry written by a boy in the year 2057. This boy was the first child to walk on the moon. So, moon walk. Date, December 20th, 2057. Day 4. Dad landed the lunar module safely on a flat area of the moon's surface at 0800 hours. I felt very excited to be the first child to walk on the moon. After landing, Dad opened the small hatch and climbed down the ladder. I followed him, holding tightly onto the sides. Once I reached the bottom of the ladder, I took a deep breath and stepped onto the surface of the moon near Dad. I felt like a kangaroo as I leaped in the air, leaving footprints in the dust. A short time later, Dad collected some volcanic rocks and moon dust close to the landing site. At 0900 hours, I helped Dad load the equipment into the top part of the module. After that, we returned to our spaceship where Commander Tito was waiting for us. I hope I can visit the moon again in the future. It was an amazing experience. So this is our text, and it's a recount. So tell me please, where did the events take place? Yes, you're right. They landed on the moon, right? It was on the moon. Okay, when did the events take place? It happened when? We can see the date in here. On the 20th of September 2057. Okay, and who the text is about? It's about a boy, right? We don't know his name, about his dad, and also we can see in here a little bit about Commander Tito, right? But mostly about a boy and his dad. Okay, let's keep going. So again, this is a recount, and the purpose of the recount is to retell and evaluate events and experiences. As you could see in this text, a boy recounted or retold us the events, his events and his experiences on the moon, right? Okay, so now we are going to talk about the structure of the recount. The structure of the recount, it's very important. Please pay attention. So in this section, we are going to learn about the structure of the account. Please look attentively at this example because it will help you to write your own recount. So, first we have the title. What is the title of this recount? Yes, you're right, it's Moon Walk. Moon Walk is the title of the recount. Next we have orientation. Orientation part where in the text does it tell us when the events happened, who the events were about, where and why they happened. Please go ahead and find it. Yes, here you go. In this part, this part of the recount is the orientation. It tells us when, who, where and why. So who landed on the moon? the boy and his dad, right? Then when did they land? In 2057, September 20th, right? Then where did they land? They land on the moon, right? Okay, and it was the first child, and he was the first child to walk on the moon. So this is the orientation. In this part, we know we can answer all these questions, or these 4 questions: when, who, where, and why. Next part is the sequence of events. So the author should tell us what happened. What happened? Where in the text does it tell us what happened first, then, next, and after that? Let's find it. Here you go. We have 3 paragraphs that tell us what happened. So we can see after landing what happened, then what happened a short time later, what happened at the 9,000 hours, right? What happened after that? So we can see the sequence of events in this part. Here you go. And the last part is the personal comment. How did the events make the writer feel? Where in the text does it tell us how the boy felt about visiting the moon? Of course, this is the last part. And at the end, the boy tells us, "I hope I can visit the moon again in the future. It was an amazing experience." So that's what the boy tells us, how he felt about visiting the moon. Okay, so let's take a look at the structure again. So we are going to look at the structure of the story again, but in a little bit different way. So the structure will be the same, but the approach that we will use of viewing the structure of the recount will be a little bit different. Let's take a look. So first we have a title, Moonwalk. Then we have orientation that tells us when, who, where, and why. Here's our orientation. Then we have sequence of events where it tells us what happened. It starts with after landing, and it ends with after that we returned to our spaceship where Commander Tito was waiting for us. This is the sequence of the events. And finally, we have a personal comment that tells us how did the events make the writer feel. So here is the personal comment, which is the final part of the recount. So let's count how many parts do we have. We have title, orientation, sequence of events, and personal comments. There are 4 parts in the recount. Okay, let's move on. So the other part, which is really important for the recount, for any recount, is time and sequence words. So the other part which is necessary for a recount, any recount that you write, is the sequence words. So let's take a look closer and find the sequence words in our recount. So the first sequence word I already found for you. It's after landing. So it tells us what happened after landing. Who can find the next sequence word? Let's take a look. Okay, here you go. The next sequence event part tells us once I reached the bottom of the ladder. So it kind of links us with the previous part, with the previous event. So it tells us once I reached the bottom of the ladder and the boy explains us what happened after that. Next sequence word, let's find it, or sequence phrase. Here you go. A short time later. A short time later, which means after he reached the bottom of the ladder, right? We understand this. So first they landed, then after landing something happened. Then again something happened once the boy reached the bottom of the ladder, and then a short time later this. So again something happened. Okay, so another word that shows us time is 8 at 08,000 hours. 08,000 hours, it means 8 a.m. So at 08,000 hours, they landed, right, on the moon's surface. So this is what happened at that time. Another time, here you go, we found that it's at 0900 hours. 0900 hours, it means 9 a.m. So at 0900 hours, he helped his dad to load the equipment into the top part of the module. So that's what happened at that time. And who can find one more sequence phrase? Here you go, it's after that, after that. And now I want you to take a look closer and pay attention. After each sequence phrase, we can see, what do we see in here? It's comma. So we need to put a comma after each sequence phrase. In here, a short time later, so we pause and we should put comma. At 09,000 hours, comma. After that, comma. Okay, so these are the sequence words that the author used for his recount. Let's move on. So now it's time to write a recount. What I would like you to do, I would like you to write a recount about a topic of your choice. Also, these are the topics that I suggest you, I recommend you to select. So it's up to you whether you choose to write about your own topic or select from these ones that are suggested. So the topics that I suggest: write about your funniest event, write about your favorite birthday, provide a recount of your favorite movie, provide a recount of a sport or other event you watched, write about a time that you did something special with your family, write about a time that you did something special with your friends. So these are just suggested topics. Okay, so now it's time for you to start writing your own recount. Here is a structure that I recommend you to use for this recount. So please have a look at this structure and start working on your own recount. So first you need to write a title of the recount. Next, you need to include the orientation part. So you will need to tell us, the readers, when, who, where, and why. When the events happened, who the events were about, where the events happened, and why they happened. So please tell us. Next part is the sequence of events. In this part, you will need to explain us exactly what happened. You will need to spend a little bit more time on working on this part of the recount. This is the main part of the recount, because you will tell us what happened first, then, next, and after that. I suggest you to use these linking words, okay, to write your recount. They are first, then, next, after that. You can add any other of your words that show us the flow of the events. What happened first, second, third, or first, then, next. And the final part, it's very important to write a personal comment. So please let us know, how did you feel about the event? At the end, you need to write down how did you feel about everything that you have just described. Okay, and now it's time to edit. It's time to edit your recount. After you are done writing everything, go ahead and edit it. I prepared for you a checklist, and this editing checklist will help you to find out if you missed anything. So first, go ahead and check. My recount has a title. If your recount has a title, put a check mark. Next, my recount tells when, where, and why the events happened. My recount tells who the events were about. If you included all these parts in your recount, please put a check mark. Next part. My recount includes the details about the events. The events are in order. This is that part where you should have told us first, then, next, after that. If you have that, please put a check mark. And finally, my recount tells how I felt about the events. If you told us how you felt about the events, please put a check mark. Once you are done editing your recount, it's time to publish it. Go ahead and write the final version of your recount. Thank you for learning how to write a recount with me. If you enjoyed this video lesson, please remember to subscribe and like the video. See you in the next lesson. Take care.